entrepreneurs. Welcome to today's 4 Pillars of Entrepreneurship Virtual Summit. My name is Annie Hardock, and I'm the founder of United Networks for Growth. It's a holistic approach to entrepreneurship in the areas of health, wealth, personal growth, and business development. And I'm happy today to have Jim Hetherington with me today. And Jim is a relationship breakthrough specialist. He creates unique programs designed to help individuals and partners take their relationships to the next level in life and business. He's an international award-winning, #1 best-selling author and an international speaker. Jim has been married for 38 years, a coach for 30 years, and an entrepreneur and business owner for 25 years. His knowledge spans across many areas, and his expertise will help you navigate through them. Welcome, Jim.
Thanks, Andy. It's great to be here.
You're welcome. So, I met you just a couple of weeks ago at a writing workshop.
That's right.
But your knowledge about relationships is so impressive, so I have to have you on my virtual summit.
Well, I appreciate that. Yes, we had a great conversation when we met, so I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. So, why are you so passionate about teaching on entrepreneurship and on relationships, actually?
Well, I'm really passionate about relationships because relationships are at the heart of everything that we do. It doesn't matter if it's in family life, in our romantic life, in our business life, school, no matter where we are, no matter what we do, relationships are at the heart of everything. And so I'm passionate about it because I want to see people succeed in all those areas of life. So that's why I love to bring my areas of expertise in there and help people grow in all those areas.
Great. And why did you believe it is so important for everyone to commit to better relationship, especially like our audiences are entrepreneurs, right?
Yes, because I think let's take entrepreneurs. So you take entrepreneurs. For an entrepreneur to be more successful, I believe they need to be better in their relationships. The better that they can relate, the better they can communicate with other people, the greater success they're going to have in their businesses and everything that they go up for.
Right.
That makes sense?
Yes. But tell us more, like how deep, like normally it's like sometimes people have their relationship in business with people, it's just very on the surface, right? It's different than personal relationship. Do you think, because I organized a networking group for 22 years, we really, it's all about building rapport. It's really knowing the person outside of their business, really know the person and building that trust, right? So tell me more about the difference. Is there a difference between personal relationship and a business relationship?
Well, I think the word that you used there just a couple minutes ago is rapport. And rapport, I think it transcends all those areas, whether it's personal relationships, romantic relationships, or business relationships. For us to be successful in business, we have to have good rapport with people. And if we don't put other people's interests, at the foreground, we're not going to be able to build rapport. So oftentimes people get into a sales situation, for example, and all they're concerned about is getting the sale. They're not really concerned about building rapport or building a relationship of any kind with the person. All they want is the outcome. They just want something from that person. So what I suggest is that people build rapport and consider having something more than just the outcome of the sale. Build that relationship, build that rapport, build a stronger bond with them. And it's like Zig Ziglar said, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want. And so people really, I think everybody wants to connect at a deeper level, regardless of whether it's in business. I think the days are gone where people just want to be another number, right? Mm-hmm. We went through that whole history where everything went online and everybody was just a number, you were just another person in a sequence. People have gotten away from that. They want the interaction, they want the handshakes, they want to be able to connect eye to eye and face to face. And that only happens if we're really good in relationships and we can build that strong rapport. And it happens best if we consider the other person valuable and important and precious, and we want to be a part of their lives, not just for the sale, not just for what we can get. I think we need to have that transactional thing happening between people.
Mm-hmm. Because, yeah, when you say that transactional thing, because for business, lots of them, their goal is to generate that revenue.
That's
and
right.
so they forgot about that part of the relationship, right?
Yes.
And how do you, like in some situation that you really need to make that sale by this deadline, but you don't want to hamper that relationship? Like what is the way to get around it? Like you still want to get down to business, right? One thing is about relationship, then it takes time to
Sure.
build that.
Yeah. No, it does take time, but I think you can not fast track, but I think you can get there quicker than what people think. I think we can, it's just typical things. I mean, my wife is just absolutely amazing. When she meets somebody, she can turn a conversation around in 2 or 3 minutes, and she can know something more about a person's life than anybody I know on this planet within 5 minutes. And it's just a matter of the questions we ask. It's just the concerns that we express. It's just the genuineness that we express to people, that we make it about them just for even a couple of minutes, and people will change around.
Yes, and have them open up to you. I think that's important.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
you kind of sense that, like sometimes it's just some people, like in business, that I can feel the almost like instant connection. But some is like a block, like, it's just very service when you talk to them.
Sure.
Sure. Yeah. So
I can give you a good example. Years ago, that when I was younger, my very first sales job was selling men's clothing. And I really struggled with it, just learning, building the report was my very first sales job ever. And I really struggled with it. And after 6 months, I just went to the boss and I said, look, I don't think this is working for me. I think I need to go try something else. And so I put in my 2-week notice, and I struggled to make sales all the way through that 6 months. But I made more sales in that last two weeks after I gave my notice. Why? Because all of a sudden the pressure to make the sale was off. Now I was just genuinely engaging with people. I was just building relationship. I was having fun. I was more relaxed. And then all of a sudden the sales were just coming in like crazy. So there's a definite key there. There's a switch that goes on.
right. Yeah, because to me, I can sense, feel the energy when someone coming to me, whether they are resisting, because right away they think you're trying to sell something. But before you even open up your mouth, just because they're prejudgment of my role, right? They just see it's a sale. So right away you feel that. But some other people, it's genuine, because I connect with them, right? So it's that trust. To me, it's in a very short period of time. I don't know whether it's a prejudgment or whatever it is, that relationship. Some it just click and I built that relationship, but some it's just so it's almost you hitting something really cold energy that you just feel it, sense it. It's not connecting.
So I always encourage entrepreneurs and people when they approach somebody, just find something genuine that you can connect with that other person. That's apart from business, apart from sales, apart from anything. Find that human connection. Find that way to connect heart to heart just for that moment, and make that person feel valuable outside of just the sale, outside of the business. Make that person feel valuable. And then, like you say, you get that instant connection. You get a much quicker connection, a genuine connection. And then people don't feel that you're just there for the sale. You're just there to get them to sign the check. There's much more to it.
Right. Yes. And what are the steps we can take to develop better relationship skills? Are there steps that we just like a formula? You just follow these steps and then you're gonna do great.
Yes. Well, I think one of the things I remind people to do often is I use this word called prefer, to prefer another person. So that means to put that other person first. And I think that's one of the first steps, is if we go into a relationship or into any interaction and say, it's not about what I can get out of it, it's what I can put into it. And if we're willing to extend and give some of us over into a relationship, whether it's business, whether it's personal, whether it's with a neighbor, the barista at the coffee shop, whatever it is, if we can prefer that other person and say, I want to make that person feel valuable. If we take that approach, I think that's one of the first steps, I think,
I actually agree. It's when you are with the person, if that person is not actually paying full attention to you, they might be like looking at the cell phone, taking a message, do whatever, right? Then you feel, I don't know, you just feel that your time is not valuable to them.
Yeah.
Because they're spending the time that I'm like totally available to them to speak to them, but on the other hand, their mind is going somewhere else and thinking of it. Yeah, it's the attention and their intention. Why are they speaking to you?
That's right. So when you go in that approach where you say, I'm going to make that person feel very valuable, and then yes, exactly, give them 100% of your attention. At that moment, when I'm talking with somebody, there's nobody more important than the person I'm talking to. Mm-hmm. Remember once I met with a person for the very first time and I forgot to put my phone on silent and my phone went off and they said, oh, it's okay, you can get that. I said, no. I said, forgive me, I forgot to put it on silent. You're the most important person right now. This meeting right now is the one that I need to take care of, and this is the one that I'm giving my full attention. So I think you're right. If we, that would be the second step, is just to give 100% attention to that person. I met the amazing Jack Canfield not too long ago. Right. We were in conversation with him, and he was talking with somebody, and somebody tapped him on the shoulder to interrupt him, and he turned and said, just a minute, wait till I'm done this conversation, then I will take care of what you want. And he was just genius at it, and it just reaffirmed to me that's a proper posture to have when we're in a meeting, that we're not there like the governor of a city just waving to everybody going by when we're trying to have a conversation. I mean, it'd be really rude right now if my phone was going off and people were coming into my office and I say, oh, hang on a second, Andy, I got to talk to this person. I mean, that would be really devaluating to you. And so
I guess because I organize networking events a lot, so what would you do if someone around coming by and you really need to talk to that person, but you are still engaged like in this other conversation, but that person that you really is your focus, how do you have that nice excuse like to tell the other person before you go off, right?
Yeah. But I mean, with networking events, you want to make sure that your interactions are shorter, correct? Because you don't want to be spending a lot of time with one person. If you're networking, you want to be going along and meeting people, as many people as you possibly can. So in a case like that, I would just, wrap up our conversation and just say, it was wonderful to meet you. I want to excuse you and let you go meet some other people. I'm going to go connect with some other people and then just run and go catch up with that person. And
or just get their contact really quickly.
Yeah. So I mean, because when you're in those kind of situations, you want to be moving, and so does that other person. And so I think to excuse the other person and say, look, this is for your benefit. I want to end our conversation. Maybe towards the end, we can pick up again and talk some more, but why don't you go meet at least 10 more people? I'll meet 10 more people, then we can talk some more. And then that gives you, it gives you an out to go and talk.
Right. Yeah, because I know in networking situations, some people, because they are not comfortable of meeting other strangers. So once they got someone to connect to,
that's right.
They just stay with that person, not letting go. It's like, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's time where we just have to be a little bit more assertive, a little bit more firm, and just say, you know what, we're here to meet more people. It was great to connect with you. Let's go on and meet some other people. We'll connect later.
Yes. And what is number one problem in relationships?
I get that question all the time. And the old cliche was always communication, right? That was always saying. But I really believe that the number one problem in relationships is unmet or unrealistic expectations. That's one of the biggest things that breaks down relationships. If I enter into a relationship with a person and I expect A, B, and C out of them, or they say they're going to deliver A, B, and C, and then they don't, then my expectation of that relationship is damaged and it's kind of diminished. And so that causes a lot of stress. And I believe it happens in any kind of relationship, whether it's romantic relationships, friendships, just platonic relationships, business relationships. Take a relationship with a company. You buy a product for them, you have an expectation of the quality of the product, etc. And if they don't live up to that expectation, then it damages your relationship, or how they handle the situation can damage your relationship. So unmet expectations and unrealistic expectations, I believe, is the number one problem in relationships.
Mm-hmm. So it's expectation that causes the problem.
Sure.
So that's why is it like even like for business, that's why we have like contract and agreement is before you start out, you have to communicate what's the expectations you have with each other.
That's right. That's right.
But,
and then when, yeah.
I failed on this, but in romantic relationship, because you're so, you wouldn't ask someone like the first day you met, what's your expectation? And then when is the time that you have that to review your expectation, or you never, like when is the right time to talk about that expectation?
Well, I think, if we take romantic relationships, I think there's unspoken expectations, right? The way the person presents themselves, the way they dress, the way they carry themselves, the way they make you perceive who they are, right? Mm-hmm. Those are unspoken expectations. And those can only be uncovered as you get to know that person. In my first book, I talk about 11 areas of your life that you need to really consider as you get into relationships, because you need to make sure that you line up, you have the same value in all these different areas, because that helps in our relationship. And it's only through discussing, talking, having dialogue and conversation that we can begin to unfold those and see what the real expectations are. Then we can see if those expectations line up with our values, if that person is really, going to honor those values. That only comes in time. It's not something that can be really picked up instantly.
Mm-hmm. But like you say, that like lots of the relationship fail is because of the unmet expectations. But what if the other person actually didn't know what your expectations are?
Sure. And that's exactly why I really believe it's important to have conversation. It's important to know what areas you need to look at, going into a relationship. What kind of things are you looking for? Mm-hmm. I tell people that you have no business getting in a relationship with another person until you first discover what your goals are. If your future goals and your plans are going to take you to the west, and their future goals and plans are going to take them to the east, you don't want to get in a relationship, because already your values are different, your direction is different, your purposes are different. So those things happen as we begin to talk and get in conversation, we get to know that person. So I really believe that when we get into a relationship, we need to guard our hearts to a certain degree, until we can start to see whether our values line up, whether our purposes line up, whether our direction lines up, whether those expectations are going to be delivered. And, the truth is anybody can renege on an expectation at any time, but we can certainly lessen those possibilities if we spend time getting to know them and asking the right questions and discovering who that person really is. Then it makes it a little bit, we go from the unspoken to the spoken.
Yeah, but the other, like both sides has to be honest, right? You can ask the right question, but they're not giving you one is either they're trying to get the answer that you want to hear.
That's right.
Or, yeah.
And it's usually the guy that's holding back and not being truthful. Women are very open and very transparent most of the time. And guys are they're a little bit more, not devious, but they're a little bit more sly. They don't give away as much information sometimes. They want you to think they're the strong, macho kind of person, because that's what everybody expects. So they think. And so, yeah, it's easy not to get the right impressions, but it's over time that we begin to see those by talking and having good conversations to really discover the person.
Mm-hmm. That also, would it be applying to like in business, that you find the right business partner or finding the right employees and people around you, right?
Sure.
Because if you have a team team, I don't know, I hope it doesn't form the team yet, but to find out that they don't have the same value, they don't have the same goal, what's your vision, right? It's counterproductive if someone in your team that doesn't believe in what your vision is, right?
That's right. Yes. And so I really believe in business, especially, we need to have vision statements. We need to have purpose statements developed for our businesses so that when people come in and we're interviewing them for a particular position or a place in our companies, that we walk through our vision, we walk through our purpose so that they understand what your values are, what your core beliefs are, where your company is going, so that right off the bat, they can say, yes, I agree, or no, I don't agree. And you can begin to weigh out those those different positions as you're interviewing them. So I think that's really important, that you have clear defined ideas and purposes for your company, for your industry, for who you are. And then you can bring a person in and you can see if they line up, and they can see if they line up, and you begin to have those conversations. You can start to see whether it's going to fit or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like for me, I'm not a very structural type person. I hate that boundary, but now I learned in relationship you do have to have that boundary.
Yes.
Because otherwise you just attract all these different people because I believe that their energy affect how you proceed with lots of things that you go, because too much of those negative actually can draw you, pull you down.
That's right. Yes, and it can make or break your success. Mm-hmm. So if we take a sheet of paper, we know we have four sides, four edges on that piece of paper, and inside that we have to have all the things that we believe, what we stand for, who we are, what our values are, where the direction in our life. We can use that same idea in our businesses, because it's only then when people come into our life that they can say, yes, I can buy into that, or no, I can't. If they don't know what the lines are, they don't know where the boundaries are, then they can't decide whether they're going to be able to agree with you or not. It'd be like joining a sports team and not knowing all the rules to the sport game, right? You need to know what the general rules are to say, yeah, I can play this game, or no, I don't want to play this game. And it's the same thing in relationships.
It's interesting what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I hear from you about defining all the value, what you expect, all those characters that, to me, that's what the boundary that I have. I never really have that. Right? That's why I just wonder, for children, that's how important it is have that concrete value. I know we give a lot of freedom to children because let them grow into what they becoming, but I just see it's at different stage of the development of a child, right? What I see it's the reverse in the relationship. It's when I see lots of parents, when the kids are young, so in kindergarten or elementary school, they give them a lot of freedom, give them to make the decision, give them that, right? But then when they become teenager, they're trying to stop them from doing a lot of things.
Sure.
I don't know whether the process is a young age, 3 years old or 5 years old. What do you think the relationship between parents and a child? Is it still that friend, what they're trying to be friend of to the child, or there should be more guidance in learning the values in life? What is good? Yes, and instead of that open forum, but when they're a teenager, they have to make those mistakes, and based on what they have, that parents have planted that values in them, they can throw them out, they don't feed it, but it's at their age that they can grow into. I just wonder the relationship. Well, I'm now getting to parents and child relationship just because I gone through different part. I raised my son differently than I think, what the other parents that I have came across as a
Yeah.
single parent. So I want to know like about relationship between parents and child too.
Yeah. So I think it's certainly important that we give them freedom, but I think it's giving them freedom that's age appropriate.
Yes.
So you don't want to give somebody that's in grade 1 the same freedom that you would give somebody that's in grade 12. And you wouldn't give someone the same, freedom in grade 9 as you would that somebody that's in university, because then that's when they start getting in trouble. The problem that I see today is too often we're trying to give people much more freedom than what they can handle at that particular age. So if let's take somebody in kindergarten, 5 years of age, we want to give them the freedom within the parameters that we feel is appropriate for somebody that's 5 years old and in kindergarten, and let them explore, let them, grow and let them develop and do all those things. But you certainly don't want to give them the freedom for when they get older. I mean, we all want to see people grow up and be successful, but I wouldn't give my 5-year-old son the keys to the car, to go and have fun and just explore and enjoy and, be creative with the car at 5 years of age, right? We want to give them freedom and responsibilities that are age appropriate. And so, and it's the same in any relationship. I think it's just having those boundaries, having those appropriate areas, because let's face it, when kids are young, if we take younger children, we know that their most of their brain, their creativeness, their thinking, everything develops by the time they're 8 years of age, right? So from the time they're born until about 8, that's when most of that is formed. So that's where they really need to know the structure. They need to know the values. They need to know our cultural differences. They need to, all those different things in our families and our generations and so on. They need to know all that stuff. So that as they get older, then they know they've got a framework. They've got an understanding of who they are. They understand who they are as a person.
Yes.
Then we can begin to release them into more responsibilities as they get older. But I think it's giving them the freedom, but giving them, age appropriate freedom.
Right. Yes.
If that makes sense. I mean, it's kind of a condensed. It's a big topic for us to discuss.
Because I see children at very young age, like kindergarten, they do it by examples. It's whatever they're surrounded, whether it's their parents or family members or at school. That's what they just absorb, right? Like then they see that as become their value of what they perceive that they have saw. Like, but like I said, when I was being raised, like it wasn't something that you communicate verbally, like with parents, right? So you just watch what is, right? So we might have or grab whatever information that's come in, and you learn from there.
Sure. Yeah, we learn by example. We learn by the things that we see going on around us, and that's why I think it's really important that we give them age appropriate areas to explore and to grow and to be creative in, because then if somebody's really young, they're impressionable, and so if they're seeing stuff that's a little bit beyond what they have reference to really understand, then it makes it a challenge for them to make good decisions in that realm, those parameters.
Yes, I guess like everything that's in life can also be applied in business, like you say about these values. Like you can apply it in your business, so you set up that values, what your company stands for, and then you find the right people.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if we take it to a company, you're not going to allow somebody that's just coming into your company to have access that the CEO has. You're not going to allow them to make decisions on the company. You're not going to allow them to make and break the big deals. You're going to bring them in with small responsibilities and slowly introduce them to more and see how they handle those responsibilities and grow into it maturely. It's the same idea. So somebody coming into your company is coming in like a 5-year-old that's in kindergarten. You're not going to give them the graduating, the diploma class, give them those responsibilities. You're going to let them grow up into it and grow through the company. So that's why I said earlier, it's important that we have, a value statements and purpose statements and so on, so that we can walk these people through all those things so they know exactly how to handle responsibilities, how to handle the company, how to handle your name, your reputation, and so on, as they grow up through the company.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So it's almost time for our half an hour, but I'm really
that was fast.
like. Okay, one last question. What is the best thing for individuals to do to attract better relationships? What is that?
I think the best thing to do is to work on you personally.
Mm.
The more I work on myself, the more I can attract better people into my life. So the very first place to start is with yourself. You know, you work on your own heart, you work on your own self, you make you a better person. You make you the person that you want others to fall in love with. You make you the person that you want other people to do business with. You make you the person that you want others to trust and have confidence in. So if you build that up every day, you will become more successful as time goes on. And that's where it has to start.
Yes, that's why self-development and personal growth is so important for entrepreneurs. That's why I put this 4 pillars of entrepreneurship.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. It's brilliant.
It's just so, thank you. Like just anything, just look into yourself first. Like don't blame about other business or someone competing in business with you, but look at your own self, right?
Yeah. Make yourself that person that the people, the competition wants to come to. Make you the person.
Yes. I love that.
That'd be a good tagline, wouldn't it? Make you the person. I'm going to write that one down and take it.
So thanks a lot, Jim. But before I let you go, tell us what's that free gift you offer to our audience today.
Well, I wanted to sit down because we've talked a lot about relationships, and there's so much that I can talk into personal relationships, business relationships, any relationships, even with family stuff. I'm not even afraid to talk about family stuff. I've raised 2 children, so I know what that's like. And so what I want to do is I want to offer a free consultation. I'd gladly sit down and have a power session with, for 30 minutes with any of your viewers that want to reach out to me, connect to me. I would absolutely love to spend that time with them, see where they are, and we can create help to create a new plan for them moving forward.
Ooh, that's good. So they can connect with you on your website?
Yep, they can get me on my website. And my emails are there. Everything's on my website. So they just go to jimhetherington.com and they can connect with me there, reach out, just tell them to tell me they saw me on Annie's show and I will connect with them. I'd be more than happy to do that.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim, for talking to us today. I learned a lot from you.
Well, I'm glad you did. I'm really happy that you invited me to be here. I think what you're doing with the health, wealth, personal growth, development, I think is just brilliant. Entrepreneurs need to, be focused on that. It's not just about business. You've got to have everything. You've got to be the complete package these days.
Thank you.